And good afternoon, Sword Family. Welcome to the sweltering summer edition of the Teahouse. It is way too damn hot outside, and I am enjoying sitting in my nice, cool, air-conditioned apartment after about an hour ago running to the store to grab dinner, and I am just now starting to feel like a human again. And I was outside for a grand total of maybe 5 minutes between walking from the truck to the store and then back to the truck. It's way too damn hot out there. But tonight, we're going to be coming into a new topic, something that I knew very, very little about until last Saturday. Midnight asked for a show about the Rajput Warriors of India. And the only exposure to that, I guess, cast of people, yeah, I think that's the right way, is from an episode in the second season of Deadliest Warrior, when the Rajput went up against the Roman centurion. I'm pretty sure the Rajput won. But that was it. That was all the information that I had about the Rajput is Deadliest Warrior. And I'm pretty sure, although I've never actually played the game, I'm pretty sure that they also have been in the Deadliest Warrior games on the Xbox 360. I think there's been 2 or 3 of those, maybe. And I played the demo of the first one when it first came out, like 20. Okay, let's think about this. 2013, 2015. So I had very, very little information to start with. So I actually appreciate. Thank you, Midnight. Genuinely. Hold on, I got something for this. Hold on. There you go. Genuinely, thank you for giving me something that I really didn't know much about before this. Because, yeah, other than Deadliest Warrior and the amount of information that they gave during that show, which, again, this was 2013, 2014. So it's been over a decade ago that Deadliest Warrior was even on the air. And the only reason I know that is because while we were watching the show, we had me and Foxy and her brother and our roommate Justin living with us. And we would watch the show every, I want to say Saturday or Sunday. And we watched like every single episode. And while I didn't always agree with every single outcome, it was a decent show. I think when they went into the third season and they added more criteria into the computer to run the simulations, that might have been a more accurate representation of what the battles might have been. But for the most part, they were fairly accurate. Now, before I go off on a rant, I'm just going to say one thing. The Spartan shield was not the end-all, be-all of every single goddamn battle in history. Okay? Yes. Shields were important in battle. Number one. Yes. The Spartan phalanx was basically a moving tank. But that damn shield would not stop every single attack. Especially if you knew what to look out for. And the phalanx was meant to protect the person next to you. That's how it worked. Interweaving, right? So if you're used to holding your shield to protect the person next to you and hoping that the person next to you was going to use their shield to protect you, you could find gaps. But every single time the Spartan went up against anyone, they won. And the number one factor they won was because of that damn shield. That is bullshit. That shield was not the Great Wall. All right? And I'm going to stop there because I could probably go on about just that one thing for the rest of this show. And we have lots and lots of comments. Oh my God. Okay. We should probably get started on the comments because holy hell. Scrolling. Hey, look at that. And first through the door is actually Kitty at 4:54 p.m. Am I first? Yes, you were. You were the very first. And 1 minute later, in walks Foxy. It proved me too early. Yeah, must have been too early. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We'll find the cutoff line. When you do, let me know because I'm actually kind of curious how early can you be and still show up? I'm actually kind of curious about that. And Donna popping in, greeting Kitty and Foxy. Hey, Donna. And hey, Donna, tonight should be interesting. And Sarah is joining us. Hey, Sarah. When you figure out, the whole GoFundMe situation, let me know. I don't really have any way to monetarily support, but I will share it far and wide because you are my sister and I love you and I want you to be safe and happy and safe. And yes, I said happy. And yes, I said safe twice on purpose. How many women does it take for a harem? Wait, hold on. Oh my God, it is all women so far. Wait, hold on. Foxy Green Sarah and 3+. Well, we're already there. Hope I can keep the rails in check. Yeah, exactly. Rails? We have no rails. We don't need no stinking rails. Go to view to join us. Excitement is going to need to be in check if necessary. No. We're glad to see you. There's Sarah, just like on my phone. Hey, I have her number too now, Donna. So, yeah. Right, but it isn't tonight an educational stream. I try as much as I can to make all of them educational, even if the education is just the things that piss me off. So, yeah. Yay, Dark Misses. Freaking love you, and we love you too. And Ruby joining us. Evening, everyone. Hello, Ruby. Back to 1,000 comments because I'm bouncing with excitement. Beware. I'm not worried. Greetings to Ruby, and nice to be in here right now. And we're glad to see you, Sarah, genuinely. Like, 100%. More greetings to Ruby. Glad my phone has passwords. Yeah, you don't want to lose those. Wisman Dude should be showing up pretty soon. Looking forward to it. Oh, good. And there's Carl. Evening, everyone. Sorry to break up the female exclusivity. Yeah. How dare you? It's all right, Carl. There goes the harem. Now Thesis has to share with Carl. No comment. Yeah, right, Whitman Dude. You love being the only guy in the room. Don't worry, Kitty. I'm not selfish. Well, you know, neither am I, but Foxy giggling, and there's Dark Pope, and my age, I'm lucky to take care of one woman. Sometimes. And there's Captain Joe. Good evening, folks. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Greetings to Joe. Greetings to Joe. Oh, no. Trey isn't feeling well and most likely won't be watching live. Well, healing vibes to her. Poor Trey. Smiling so big right now. This is great. I'm genuinely, Sarah, I'm glad that you're here. Like, I tend to notice when people don't show up. And it, you know, I worry. Hope Trey feels better soon. Absolutely. Love Trey. Charcoal complains she got ear medicine. Ooh, eh. Fell for the old corn chip on the floor trick. Hey, if it works. Had 3 text convos going at once. Time to rest. Jesus. You're popular. For sure, Donna. Sounds like it's going around. Yeah. Tonight is going to be multitasking kind of night. Got the Mac fired up for the first time in a long time. Got website updates for town and a bunch of other stuff. Well, you want a cookie? Wow. And there's Dan. Good evening. Good evening, Dan. Greetings to Dan. Greetings to Dan. Greetings to Joe and Dan. More greetings to Dan and Joe. Been a rainy day, but I believe I'll need to run the AC. Hey, I would take a rainy day right now. Glad for ours today. Absolutely. Oof. 8 hours in heat hazard last Friday. You don't recommend. No, please don't. And welcome in everyone that came in since I did from Ruby. And hi, Ruby. Here we go. Make sure to have your thinking caps on, I hope. And what's up, Sword People from Midnight? Hey, Midnight. Awesome, brother. Thank you, Sarah. Greetings to Midnight. Greetings to Midnight. Gave my cousin a gummy today. Not the good ones, just the CBD. Well. And there's Pro, another person we haven't seen for a while. Howdy, howdy. Hey, Pro. It is way too damn hot out. Yes, it is. They weren't so strict with that stuff here. I would try it for pain. Absolutely. Greetings to Pro. A big storm just hit us. Oh, no. Lost power and internet, so might not be on the whole time. Hey, man, you be safe. Pretty reasonable here today, which was good because I was at a park for a family reunion. Howdy, Donna. Nice choice of topic, Midnight. It was. And Pro greeting Foxy. Foxy greeting Pro back. Yeah, okay. The Rajput one. Okay. Like I said, it's been several years since I saw any episodes of Deadliest Warrior, and you can't find them. They're not online. You can find clips. Sometimes you can find the final battle reenactments, but you can't find full episodes. Not that I could find. I know you, Pro, or have I been out of the loop? Pro's been around for a little while. He came to us through Tosh from Sisters of the Hook over on Kick and Twitch. But hey, there's Trey. How's it going? I hope you're, resting and doing whatever you need. Greetings to Trey. Greetings to Trey. More greetings to Trey. Big hugs to Sarah from Trey. More greetings to Trey. Here we go. Hey. Evening from Dawn. Hey, Dawn from Foxy. No, not phallic. Phalanx. It was basically, you would take rows of warriors and have each person protect the person next to them with their shield, and you would create a box. Basically a rolling or a walking tank. Each person was meant to protect the person next to them, except for the persons on the end. And they were usually protected by the person behind them, unless you got to the back. Let me see if I can... This has, like, nothing to do with the Rajput, but oh, go away. I don't want your stupid captchas. Why do I need captchas to do an image search on Google? What is this bullshit? Oh my God. It's an image search. Open image. Hey, look at that. Share screen. That's the Roman version. But you can see like spears sticking out in between. Look at the gaps. Look at the gaps between those shields. Hold on. Let's zoom in a little bit. Look at the gaps. And these guys are just straight up standing there. Yes, they're wearing armor. But just like shields are not all-encompassing, neither is armor. There are lots and lots of gaps in that. Greetings to Dawn. Didn't think you'd be on tonight, Trey. Hey, I'm glad. And hi, Dawn from Sarah. Yes, I could. Welcome about the comments. Absolutely. Oh, super duper hugs from Sarah. Ouch. Sarah hugs Dawn. Yeah, I don't think Sarah and Pro have met either. I don't think so. Should be fun. Definitely let you know when it gets started with the GoFundMe. Absolutely. Appreciate you sharing when it comes to be. Moral support is vital. Absolutely. I will share it everywhere that I can. I don't give a damn. Dawn, who was outside for multiple hours today and forgot sunscreen, lobster style. Yeah, well, yeah. I've avoided the hot, burny thing like the plague. Yes, you have. You want a cookie? You have a Dove bar. Come on now. Sharing it is great. You're epic. No, I'm not, but you know better than that. Yes, you do, Dawn. We all should, and yet, yeah. Trey, where is the bapper? I have no bapper. Most of my bappers would actually hurt and or, cause permanent damage. So, yeah. Also think by this point in our lives, we'd have this whole eating, drinking thing down. But no, we keep biting ourselves. Yeah. Had to be in the heat for 8 hours, not by... And Pro greeting Carl, and hey, Pro, sorry I was distracted by all the ladies. Yeah, I bet, Carl, absolutely. Bit yourself? Well, you know. She'd rather bite me, but not the green room. Sounds like the Vikings? Kinda, yeah. Except when the Vikings fought the samurai won. The samurai didn't have a shield. The Viking did. But every time the Spartans fought, they won. And the main factor was the goddamn Spartan shield. Not today, Carl, but I have many times chomped the cheek while eating or tried to breathe at the wrong time. Yes. Hugs, Foxy. Hugs, Foxy. Yes, I mentioned cookies, but you have a Del bar. Brought home cookies from the Amish place. Well, cookies. Ooh. Yes. Bap's done. Thank you. I have a bapper and I'll bap my... Yes, I can and have rented on this for hours. But bapping yourself, I'm just gonna... Hold on. I have something for this. Just give me a second. Okay. All right. Now that we're almost halfway through the show before we can actually start it on what we're supposed to be talking about. Yes, it does sound very not the green room, doesn't it? Chocolate chip granola bars in this hotel when I make it. Hell yeah. Promise you'll stop when you need glasses. I have glasses and contacts and I haven't stopped, but go a little late. Oh, I will. Oatmeal, peanut butter, chocolate chip, chocolate M&M. Ooh. Wow. Okay. So, yes, you have glasses already. So do most of us. The Rajput were not a specific kind of warrior. They were a class of people. So, like, Japan has the samurai, and Sparta has the Spartan, and Greeks have the centurions. These are all specific classes of warriors. But Rajput were a class of people. It comes from the Sanskrit word, and I'm going to butcher this because I don't speak Sanskrit, but I'm Rajaputra, meaning son of a king. So Rajput were a caste of people from the northern part of India. The picture that I put on the thumbnail was one of the many pictures I could find of a Rajput. They are a patrilinear, meaning from the male side of the family. They were patrilinear clans. Now, historically, they were associated with fighting, with being a warrior. If you were born into the Rajput class, you were probably going to be a warrior. These were clans of people. Just like China, just like North America before the Pilgrims came and screwed it all up, India was a bunch of smaller states and clans before it was one main homogenized group of people. And some of these clans were Rajput clans, but not all of them. The Rajput were peasant clans, despite the fact that their name means son of a king. They were usually peasants. Oh, hell yeah. Oreos are awesome, especially when you can find the... I haven't found them for a while, but they had like... Instead of the normal cream filling, they had chocolate. They were awesome. Dawn has a monster cookie. Not the green room, yes. They weren't actually that class of people. Like I said, they were usually peasants. Need to make more of your make more of my mooncakes? Absolutely, I'll make more of my mooncakes. We can even fiddle with the recipe a little bit to see if I can actually get the filling on the inside instead of just spread throughout, because that was... You can have those, Sarah. I don't do mint. I'm not a big mint person. I don't like mint. So the term Rajput, the meaning cannot be applied literally, because most of the Rajput were peasants. They worked in the agricultural fields. And they weren't actually royalty. They were mostly peasants. The clans, as early as the 7th century, the clans emerged when they started taking over small plots of land that weren't necessarily theirs. In the 11th and 12th centuries, the term Rajput was applied to martial lineages. So between the 7th century and the 11th century was when the term started to grow, and the areas they controlled got larger. But the term Rajput did not exist at that time. So later scholars came back to the 11th and 12th century and applied the Rajput name to these 11th and 12th century martial lineages. Because, as we know, and this is something, I don't know if I've officially talked about this here in this arena, but the terms that we use today for different kinds of swords are almost universally a modern invention. Because at the time that these weapons were being used, it was just a sword. It didn't matter all of the many different classifications that we currently have for swords. Back then, it was just a sword. We, as modern people, have this habit of needing to classify things beyond necessity. That's kind of what we do. You know, remember when I was playing Jade Empire and the Water Dragon? Names are fleeting, given so that your kind can point and say, that is mine. Yeah, that's what we do. But back then, a sword was a sword. Didn't matter. And yes, Foxy likes mint. She gets all of the mint. Monster Cookie comment was not the green room, and what I said, yeah, you never, yeah, whatever. Hey, more for you. You can have it. Y'all tempted me into getting a donut. Hey, good. And Inigo says, hi. Oh, is he sleeping? That explains why he's not in here. Glad we could help keep your blood sugar up. Yes, we definitely need to keep blood sugar in the acceptable range. That's just what modern people do. There is a scholar, and my brain just deleted the information just as I was starting to say it. But there is a person, Oakshot, yes. The Oakshot typology. I believe his first name is Ewart. And he created a typology of swords, of European swords, that he introduced in the 1960s. And they're like type 10, type 10A, type 13, type 14. He went back and looked at ancient swords and found similarity between, okay, this type goes in this class and this type goes in this class. And he created this typology. It didn't exist in the ancient world. That, my Xingtian, Sarah probably hasn't seen this. This was my Father's Day present from Foxy and Kitty. It's another trainer. We have a leather, or more possibly pleather, wrapped plastic core scabbard with actual wrapping. This is not textured. This is actual wrapping. We have a fake wood grip handle. This, Qing Dynasty Yin, this was a sword. This Han Dynasty Yin, this was a sword. It didn't matter. A sword was a sword. So later scholars went back to the 11th and 12th century and found these martial lineages and went, okay, those are now called Rajput because they are a warrior caste of people. Seldom eat sweets. Len wonders how I can keep a candy bar for weeks without opening it. Either binge them or nibble. Hey, baby. Historians probably wanted a way to talk about groups of swords and associate them with an era. Absolutely, that's true. And that's a lot of why they did it. But you also have to keep in mind sometimes we go a little overboard with that, like the oak shot typology. It's a little bit overboard in my opinion. But that's not, I don't usually talk about European stuff on this channel, so if you want to, go out after the stream and look up oak shot typology. We're going to drop his name in the chat. Uh-oh. Speaking of swallowing water, Rom got an air bubble. Yeah. Pretty sure that's how you spell it. Go out and look that up. I think it's a little excessive, but we can move on from that. So, the origins are equal parts history and legend. Like I said, between the 6th and 12th centuries, primarily a warrior class of peasants that upheld the ideals of valor and dharma. Dharma is, I think it's Sanskrit. It's a Sanskrit word for duty. There were 36 primary lineages. They were not only warriors, but they were also builders. They built forts, they built palaces, they built temples. And because of their, belief system, the things that they built were often built in harmony with the surrounding area. So if they were going to build a fort, they would try and build it in such a way that it fit in with the area around it. So you wouldn't see a big, gaudy fort in the middle of the Indian desert, because that's not in harmony with the terrain. You would want something that looks like it belongs there. They were also very into art, music, dance, literature, poetry. They would go out and find these things, and if they didn't exist already, the Rajputs would pay musicians and dancers and writers so that they could continue their work. The Rajput are celebrated because they stood strong against foreign invasion. They were usually outnumbered, but they never hesitated to confront bigger empires. Which, at the time that Deadliest Warrior was on, that kind of thing was not considered in their computer program when they ran the battle. And yet the Rajput still won. All they did is they took weapons of these class of people and they would test them against ballistic dummies or cow skeletons or, whatever. And then you would usually have both sides have a specific style of weapon. So you'd have this kind of shield versus this kind of shield, or this kind of sword versus this kind of sword, or this kind of spear versus this kind of spear. And they would give one weapon the edge over the other, and then they would put that into this program. And they would run, I want to say 1,000 battles in the first 2 seasons. And I think it was 10,000 in season 3. And whichever won the most battles was the winner of that fight. In season 3, they actually started putting in tactics and philosophies and things like that. From what I remember, the Rajput weapons were the khanda, which is a sword, the urumi, which we talked about a couple weeks ago with the weapons of Asia, was the whip sword. Yes, ouch is right. The katar, the punch dagger, we talked about that one. I can't remember what the other one was. I cannot remember. But we had the khanda, the katar, and the urumi. I have no idea what the Romans had. Probably the pilum. And most likely the gladius. Other than that, meh, I don't know. Hi, my nephew was talking to a couple guys outside. Hey, get it. Taking it easy in between being outside for walks. Yeah. We're going to have to go out after this is over. And it is currently, let's see. 99 degrees. Hey, you're still here. Good. Yeah, I don't even remember all what the Romans had because I don't really care. But it's kind of hard, in my opinion, to actually be able to test these things if you're just like, okay, this weapon beats out this weapon because this weapon did more damage to this gel torso than this weapon did. It's important, absolutely it is, but One episode sticks out in my head. The Shaolin versus the Maori. The Shaolin weapons were almost all steel weapons. You had the Umeitsi, the piercers. They gave him a regular staff instead of the monk spade, which was dumb. Most of the time, the Maori weapons had the edge over the Shaolin weapons. But then when they ran their simulation, the Shaolin weapons won. Even though the Maori had the edge in testing, the Shaolin weapons won overall. How does that work? I don't know. But I'm getting kind of outside of my topic here. There was a king. And again, I'm probably going to butcher this, but Maharana Pratap. He is a symbol of Rajput resilience. He went up against the Mughal emperor at the Battle of Haldigati in 1576. Wow. So what happened during this battle? A narrow mountain pass between the Mughal Empire and the Rajput. The Mughal emperor had an army of 3,000 cavalry plus archers and war elephants. Elephants. That was Maharana's group. 3,000 cavalry, archers, and war elephants. The Mughal forces had 5,000 to 10,000 heavily armored troops. Some say as much as 80,000, including muskets and artillery. So you have a small Rajput force against a much larger Mughal force. Three hours after sunrise, the Rajput initiated a frontal assault that broke the Mughal vanguard. Just ran straight into him. But the Mughal army was so much bigger and had so many more resources, they were eventually able to reorganize. Despite facing tremendous odds against them, the Rajput fought with swords and shields. against heavily armored Mughal troops with musketeers. The battle is considered indecisive. The Mughal army won, obviously, but they did not capture Maharana Pratap, nor did they conquer the entirety of the Rajput army. Following the battle, Maharana retreated into the mountains and employed guerrilla warfare against the Mughals for years. Years. Eventually reclaiming much of his lost territory. Today, the battle is not remembered as a Mughal victory, but it is a symbol of Rajput defiance. They do not mess around. They are a warrior class. All right, duh. The other weapon was the chakram, of course. Duh. Probably against the pilum, because they're both thrown weapons. Couple Latinos here from Atlanta. They're hysterical, and why they're here is beyond me. Well, a tornado repair, that's possible. Good lesson in history. Yeah, remember? Oh, God, it's been a little while ago now, hasn't it? Remember when we talked about the Battle of Red Cliff? And how Cao Cao's army was not prepared for the rain and the mud. They tied all their ships together to keep their soldiers from getting seasick because you took a bunch of people not from seafaring areas, excuse me, and took them to an area, took them on boats, and what did the Allies do? They set fire to the ships because they're all tied together. You set fire to one, that fire is going to just, it's going to run all the way across. Same kind of thing here. The Rajput were more familiar with the mountainous terrain of their kingdom. A larger force shows up. The Rajput, being insane, look at this much larger army across the battlefield from them and go, Leroy Jenkins! And just run headlong right in to the beginning of this much larger Mughal force and just punch right through the front guard. They're insane. And that right there should have been a criteria during the battle in Deadliest Warrior. The Rajput are the kind of people that look at a much larger force and just go, well, time to go to work. And they just go. Well, I have a feeling that Leroy Jenkins determined many battles over history. Yeah, probably. You're probably not wrong. But if all you are quantifying is, can this weapon defeat this weapon? And you're not even really thinking about the tactics or the, I don't want to use this word because it's been tainted by idiots, but the warrior, I can't say it because it's been tainted by stupid people. But let's say mindset. We'll go with mindset. If you're not testing the warrior mindset and the tactics and philosophy of battle, you're doing a disservice. So here's the thing. One episode of Deadliest Warrior that I did not agree with the outcome of was Sun Tzu versus Vlad the Impaler. Now, I am going to have a higher opinion of Sun Tzu over Vlad the Impaler just because of my preference for Chinese history. I don't deny this fact. But all they did is compare weapons. And this is true. This is very true. That is another modern invention. Who would win? Just a way of starting an argument. It happens all the damn time, too. Some people are, but these guys travel nationally for whatever they do, being careful with any info. Understandably so, especially right now. Sun Tzu, in my opinion, and you can argue with me on this all day long, Sun Tzu would outthink Vlad the Impaler. 60% of the time. I would even go down to 55% of the time. Slightly more than half. Sun Tzu wasn't stupid. Sun Tzu wouldn't go into a battle without knowing his opponent. So all that sticking bodies on spikes shit, it wouldn't faze him because he would already know that that was a tactic that Vlad used. He would already know. So there would be no psychological advantage. Sun Tzu would not fight Vlad without understanding how Vlad operates as a general, because Sun Tzu was a general. Sun Tzu, most likely, would not have actually been on the battlefield. he would have been directing troops from either far away from the battle itself or the very back of the pack. He didn't need to be right out front. He didn't need to be sitting in front of the army in gilded armor so everyone knew, hey, that's the general. Let's kill him first. Same thing with the Rajput versus the Roman centurion. If all you're doing is saying, okay, this weapon can beat this weapon because it did more damage to a cow skull, and that's all you're doing, you're not actually comparing the armies. You're not actually comparing the people. You're just comparing, oh, this one had a musket, this one didn't, this army wins. Why? Why? The same thing happened with the Shaolin versus the Maori. The main reason that the Shaolin won was because most of the weapons that they compared that day were metal. The Shaolin had metal weapons, the Maori had stone weapons. So that means the Shaolin wins. All because steel weapon beats stone weapon. You didn't compare tactics. You didn't compare philosophy. None of that. Same thing with the Rajput. These guys were dedicated to duty and valor. That's what their mindset was. They had, in the battle I just talked about, a much larger force. Did it scare them? Not really. They ran face first right into it. Did it succeed? Not really. The Mughals won that battle, sort of. But they did not defeat. Uh-oh, I hear Pupper. Hey, buddy. Come here. Sarah wants to see your pretty face. Come on. Hey, come on. Up you go. Come on. Over here. Come here. No, come here. Come on. Up. Come on. There's a pupper. Say hi to Sarah. Hi, Sarah. There's a pupper. Yes. Did you wake up? Yes, you did. Okay. Hi. Yes. Yeah, shake your fur back into place. I'm going to take a picture of you doing that one of these days. Back to listening. You just missed the pupper. I just heard him jump back on the bed. Yep. Puppy! Even though he's like 2-ish now. Because he was a few months old when we got him, and it's been this October. We've had him for 2 years. Yep. This is true. All dogs are puppies. I believe this. Puppies, puppers, doggos. I used to be terrified of dogs, if you can believe that, bro. When I was in kindergarten, I had one of my fingers almost bit off by a dog. So for most of my childhood and adolescence into adulthood, I was terrified of dogs. Then I got with that one. Can't be scared of dogs when you're with a dog person. I mean, you can. God, I know. It's hard to believe it's been that long. But if you're comparing armies, which is what they were usually doing, army versus army, very rarely was it person versus person. Even in the Sun Tzu versus Vlad the Impaler battle, they ran it. Did they run that one? Maybe not. I was going to say they ran it as army versus army, but that might have been the Musketeers versus the Ming. Oh, good. Got back in time to see him. Awesome. You definitely helped me get past that fear. Yes, you did. And yet, still to this day, at 45 years old, if I see a dog barking at running at me, I still like tense up. It is crazy, I know. But if you're comparing army versus army, you need to also find a way, if you can, to quantify the philosophy and the tactics of that army. You can't just say this weapon beats this weapon. Okay, but who cares? Oh, he'll get plenty of scratches. Don't worry. Like, when they ran these tests, and they tested the Urumi, when they ran the actual battle, the Urumi got 0 kills. I don't know if I believe that. And that's how they decided who won. They would run, I want to say 1,000. 1,000 mock battles in a computer. And this weapon would get this many number of kills, and this weapon would get this many number of kills, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. And whichever army or group or person had more kills, that was the one that won. That's how the Spartan always won. Because, the Spartan shield. The Spartan shield. So this weapon can't beat the Spartan shield. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Sounds like the show was trying to teach history, but under the scheme of who would win. Kind of, yes. They would bring in experts of that person or style or history or weapon. Anthony DeLongis, if anyone knows who that is. Anthony DeLongis came on one episode for William Wallace. He is a very well-known Hollywood swordsman. And they would teach you about these weapons and the history of this warrior class or person or whatever. It was a good show, but there could be arguments made on every single episode on who would actually win. Mostly, yeah. Demonstrated by the fact that we're all not Spartans. Exactly. And that's how they quantified winner. Well, this army or this person or this whatever had more kills, therefore they win. No. That's bullshit. It's garbage. It wasn't until season 3 that they had a bigger simulation where they actually started to add things like tactics and philosophy and military might and things like this. Yes, there's way more to winning than just people killed. Once again, we go back to that battle. The Rajput had a smaller army. They also had less technologically advanced weapons. And yes, the Mughal Empire, keep wanting to say emperor, claimed that area, that battlefield, at that time. And then the Rajput, for years afterwards, used guerrilla tactics to reclaim that and past it. They might have lost more warriors on the battlefield that day. But did they lose? That day, maybe. But they came back. I did learn quite a bit of history from watching that show. But also, there were times where I did not agree with the outcome. And when they started doing, I want to say season 2, the season that the Rajput were in, they started introducing guns. And anyone who's been here for long enough knows how I feel about guns. I despise guns. I hate guns. I wish guns had never been invented. But you had things like the Italian mob versus the Yakuza, and SWAT versus this other country's military. I don't care. I genuinely do not care. Take your guns and go away. Mayans should have won over the conquistadors, but for the accidental weapon of smallpox. Accidental, yeah. The Rajput, from everything I read, were incredible warriors. They were a warrior class. They were frequently outmatched. And yet, they still could win against a much larger and technologically advanced army. Guns, armor, and shields are not the end-all, be-all of military technology. You can find ways around them. You don't need a numerical advantage against another army to win. You don't need better technology to win. Sometimes you need better tactics. You need a better philosophy. And sometimes you just need crazier people. The Rajput, Dharma, and valor, if they were told, this is your Dharma, this is your duty, go do this, they would be singularly focused on, we must do this. This is our Dharma, this is our duty, this is what we have to do. And if that means going against a larger army with muskets, and all we have are chakram and Khanda and war elephants and archers, and they have muskets. We don't care. It doesn't matter because we have things to do. We have a duty. We're going to go do it. That's pretty much all I got for right now. I've spent the week researching this, and I enjoyed the research. I enjoyed this. You know, learning new things for me is like, it's like breathing. I love learning new things. The entire reason that I increased the scope of this channel for season 2 to all of Asia is because I want to find things, I want to find out about people and warriors and battles that I did not know about, just so I can have something new to learn. Yes. Rajput Warriors, yes. Yes, it was very interesting. Total cheat move. Well, you know. We already know Midnight's cheat move of just hiding in the dark and closing his eyes until young college girls walk past, and then he just says hi, and they do the cartoon jump up in the air and run with their feet kicking and then just take off in the other direction and lose a shoe. If anybody else in the audience, at least he got the shoe. Well, information is to thesis as a cheeseburger is to me. I like cheeseburgers too. There's anybody else in the audience, either in the audience now or watching later, has anything that they want to learn more about, let me know. Send me a message on Facebook, on Threads, on wherever. Send me a text message. I don't care. If you have something that you heard about, either from me or somewhere else, that you want to learn more about, let me know. I will research. I will go and I will find things. I will learn things because I love to learn things. Ooh. Okay. All right. That's a good one, Carl. Yep. Good idea. Yep. There we go. We got our topic for next week, the Gurkha. We're going there. Guys ask too many questions. That's why I snuck back into my room, offering beer, asking way too many questions. Nope, I'll drown their faces in mace. Yeah. Have to watch what I missed again. Yeah, absolutely. And that goes for you too, Sarah. You also rock. If you have anything that you want to learn more about, Asian, China, India, Mongolia, some Japan, Korea, Thailand, Taiwan, Laos, Cambodia, anything, you let me know. I will go and find information, and we will do a show. If I don't have enough information for a whole show, I'll do a short video. Trey has given me more ideas for short form videos than I know what to do with sometimes. Yes, the shoe. And last I heard, you still have that, don't you? Or did you lose it in one of the many moves? Because last I heard, you still had that shoe. But if people have things. Yeah, see, still have it. Research is awesome. I love research. Good job. There's even some things in Chinese history that I'm not completely well versed in. But if we're going to do a month of different classes of warrior, I'm down with that. We do the Rajput this week. Next week, do the Gurkha. 25th, let's find something else. Let's find another warrior caste that we can talk about. Sounds like fun to me. Freaking Spectacular Midnight, love it. Yeah, he's a good guy. I really enjoy my time with him in person and catching up again after so many years. But all right, guys, that's all the information I could find about the Rajput. Gurkha warriors next week. Nepal. Yeah. The Kukri. Yep. That's going to be fun. I will be back on Monday for more Jade Empire. We will finish up the Black Leopard School. And then we will head into the Scholar's Garden and the Golden Way, where you guys get to meet an NPC that you might recognize, just like Gao the Lesser. People recognized the voice actor for Gao the Lesser. You might recognize the voice actor for this guy. At least I hope some of you will. Night, everyone. Glad I didn't take a late nap. Pinky wiggles, pinky wiggles. All the shenanigans, I encourage you. Have a nice night, everyone. Stay cool. Night for midnight. See you on Monday. Hopefully, Pro. I hope to see you. Night all from Ruby. Night from Kitty. It's been so great. I'm glad. Yeah, we miss you, Sarah. Reach out. I have your number. You have mine. Night all. All right. I will see you on Monday. We'll be back next Saturday for the Gurkha. Again.